Talkopolis, the social media TV network for your city.
Hi guys, Kane Harrison here. Welcome to Nashville Health and Wellness Program. I'm joined by Michael Ramsey, who is the director of PAI Medical Group and WeGrowHair.com. We're going to talk about micropigmentation treatment today. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Kane.
Now, this is just one of your many procedures, but let's highlight it today. Tell us about it.
Yeah, micropigmentation is a relatively new way to try to treat hair loss. Some people call it virtual hair because it's not really hair. So, for example, if you take a guy who's got, wears his hair very, very short, like a stubbled look, and he's thinning in the crown or thinning in the front, you can tell because there's no shadow there, there's no shading.
Sure.
So micropigmentation is a process where we take a dermal pigment, it's vegan friendly, salt based, it's not an ink. An ink would be, you'd have a limited amount of colors. So we use the dermal pigment and we go in where the patient's thin and we create a shadow using little small pigments. Looks like almost like a little short stubbled hair, and we match it to the color of the hair that they have. So when you look at the person after the pigmentation is done, they just look like they have short hair but a full head of hair.
Now, this sort of thing has been used in permanent makeup for quite some time, but you guys have adopted it into the head.
Exactly. So it is in fact permanent makeup. So it's the same type of pigment, and again, the permanent makeup gives you the option of more color choices for hair, because if you have salt and pepper hair, your hair's dark, my hair's dark, but some people have, blonde hair.
Sure.
So with the dermal pigment, we can match up the hair color. And we go in between the hairs that they have, or maybe where they don't have hairs, and we simply imprint on the skin what looks exactly like a small, short, stubbled hair. Now, and that style's popular, as you know.
Oh, that's what I was going to say, especially for younger guys. I know I grew up with a couple of guys who had like a receding hairline or even a high headline, so they actually just shaved their whole head. And then obviously when they shave their hair, you can still see the outline of their hair because they would naturally have a thick head of hair, except it kind of looks like they're balding in the front. So this procedure alters that.
That's exactly what it does. It's for those guys that have decided to sort of give up on their hair. Maybe they don't want a hair transplant procedure. They shave their heads, but they can still see those spots, and we go in and we just shade it. We lightly go in and pigment it to where it just looks like hair. Another application is, let's say a patient had a scar on their head. You mentioned earlier from playing football that you had a couple of scars on your head. So if you shaved your head now, those scars might be apparent. Well, we can use pigmentation to go in where the scars are and basically make them kind of blend into the other short hair in the area. Patients have had the old hair transplant surgeries. Maybe there's a little scar in the back that's a little bit more visible. Now that they're shaving their head, we can go in and pigment that scar so it basically fades into the rest of the hair. So it's got several great applications, and we're excited to have it. We're one of the few centers in the Southeast that offer it. One of only 4 or 5 medical practices in the nation that offer it.
I think it's fantastic, and I mean, you touched on it, but scarring on the head, people have had medical procedures. I mean, quite often, not only have they had something tragic happen to them, be it a car accident or something, but for you guys to be able to go in and patch that stuff up must be incredible.
Yeah, it's great. Like this patient, this is a patient that's from Oregon. He had some older transplant surgeries done, and his last transplant surgery, he decided to work out right after surgery. He caused the little stitch that was there to actually open up and stretch. So he has on his right above his right ear, you can see this little area that's a little wider. So in this after picture, you can see that you can't see it. Now in the after picture, this was 10 minutes right after the procedure was completed. So you can see a little bit of redness there, but if the redness weren't there, you couldn't tell he had anything done. So this is a great application of how we use micropigmentation to kind of conceal scars. Or in this other example, you can see the gentleman that had thinning areas, and we just made it darker and thicker so it looks like he has a full head of hair.
So micropigmentation is what we're talking about. Now let's walk through the procedure itself. Obviously the time that you would be spent in your offices would be relevant to the amount of area that's getting done. What would the average sitting be?
So we can do, the procedures typically are from about an hour to about 8.
Okay.
So if a guy is pretty much bald on top of his head but keeps his hair short on the sides, it can take us a full 8 hours to complete that. But at the end of the day, the patient walks out with that nice, beautiful, stubbled look.
Sure.
I had a patient actually email me before I came onto the show. He's in the music industry, I'll just say that, and he's just delighted. And he's told 2 or 3 of his friends, and they're going to come in and have it done as well.
I think it's fantastic, and as I said, for young guys especially who wear their hair short. I mean, it's the fashion. I know a lot of people who have great head of hair who shave their head, so it doesn't look like you're balding at all, which is brilliant. And this is just one of the many procedures that you can find at wegrowhair.com, and of course, Michael Ramsey and his fantastic staff are located out in Brentwood. Brilliant offices, very welcoming. But of course, jump onto their website and check out all the procedures they have, and you can contact those guys through there. Thank you, Michael, again for coming on.
Thank you, sir.
And we'll see you next time on Nashville Health and Wellness.